But I think in a way people just expect that they'll have more opportunities if they'll study abroad in comparison, to Eastern Europe. I don't know.
I think you it's absolutely incredible. You do not get enough credit for that. I've just been in a car with a friend of mine, and he's having he was telling me how he would like to leave home and go to a university, but in this country, not abroad. And even that in itself, going to university for some people is such a big deal. It's so much of a life change that to then go to another country to be educated is a huge deal, and that's your decision. So it makes it even more pressure on yourself, because you feel like you have to, in a sense, I would say, maybe prove to people that you can do it.
First of all, it's your second language, so that's why it's a big challenge.
How does that make you feel? How does that make you feel to have English as a second language whilst you're here? Do you feel that people treat you differently because of a language barrier, or?
I don't think so. I mean, I think maybe I was quite lucky because I met really good people, and they all tried to support me in different ways. So
good.
So it's really good. I never felt some sort of racism or pressure. Well, of course, it's quite difficult to find a job if you're foreign, and it's really difficult to find well-paid job because you're a student, you're foreign, and that's quite difficult.
Would you say that that is something that's written? Would you say that's in your experience that it's more to do with the document side of things? So if people see that you're in document, they see, oh no, she's not from the UK, that they're therefore going to choose somebody who is from the UK? Or would you go to an interview? Would you go to an interview without having given the details beforehand, and then them judge you whilst you're sat there in the seat? Have you had both of those experiences?
It really depends. I mean, I worked before in Denmark for 8 months.
Okay.
And I was surrounded, by different people from different countries. So maybe, it gave me more experience. But at the same time, right now I'm in England for 1.5 years. So it's easier to find a job because they know that I live in here for a while and that I have 3 jobs in this country. I've got more experience and I know how to deal with people from this culture, So I think right now, within years, it's going to be easier and easier to reach what I want to, in a way.
Well, you push yourself. My goodness me, you push yourself. It will reap rewards. I can tell you that now. I'm no messiah or anything, but if I were an employer, I would definitely employ you over an English girl or boy because you've shown that you're very committed. Obviously, you're being able to do a degree full time, not part time, but full time, as well as do a daytime job. It's actually unbelievable. I think it's incredible. So I mean, I'm in awe.
Well, some people are impressed, but I mean, I have lots of friends from my country, and they studied also arts like documentary photography, film studies and media culture, something like that, anthropology, and they're really clever. And it just makes me feel that I'm not the only one. And
does that feel empowering? Does it make you want to do it more? Does it give you some encouragement?
Yeah, it makes me feel that I'm not alone. I have people around me.
I think that's so important.
And the same shit, So it's fine. I'll survive and I'll have maybe a good life. I don't know yet, but I'm trying to do my best. But the problem is that when I started university, basically prices increased. And while my friends, they used to pay, I think, £3,000 a year for education. And right now we pay £9,000. And it's ridiculous. I mean, how you're going to give it back after your studies?
I know, and there's so many kids are going to university and they are getting themselves into a huge debt. But then is the money even going on the education though? That's what I want to know. In my experience of being at uni, I mean, I'm a college dropout, so I mean, I dropped out, but in my experience of being at art school, I don't think an awful lot of that money goes on arts materials or education. I think a lot of that money goes on drugs. People are recreational drugging. You know.
Yeah, because, first of all, you borrow money not from the university.
Mm-hmm.
You take a loan from the other company.
Yeah.
And that company, I don't know what they do. I should be more interested in that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I remember last year, I really judged people, especially young students, who said, it's teachers' fault that we can't do that, or another thing, or we don't have more opportunities or more facilities. But it's not true. You can't blame teachers or professors for that, because they are employers. They do their work, and their wages are, every year, it's just
decreasing.
I mean, the government, they don't really care about education, I think, in a way. I mean, it's just horrible what is going on right now. And I'm really sad, because we have conversations with our tutors, and I think it's really important to have that they're in the same position as we are. They're not getting paid very well.
No, exactly. But I mean, it's an interesting topic, this, the education one, because I mean, for me, for example, I've come from very what's the word? Basically, I've been spoon fed, which means people have given me all the things I need to know, and they've told me which books to read, and they've told me exactly what to read in the book so that I get the best marks in an exam. And then education becomes more like, rather than actually learning something because you want to learn it, it's I can get A star in this subject if I do exactly what the curriculum tells me to do. It's not an education. It's purely how many marks can I get in an exam. But art school's different, because it's obviously you haven't got a written exam, have you?
Mm-hmm.
It's just practical work and coursework, and I think a lot of students can't deal with that, because they are used to being examined, and they are used to just supposedly blagging their way through education. And when you come to university, it's about you, and it's about the way you deal with your time. And it's about living a life, and I don't think a lot of these kids can do that. And I think that's an awful lot of the reason why actually a lot of these kids are doing so many drugs, because it is a problem that I've seen. I mean, I say problem in brackets, but actually, I mean, I've been in that position, and I know where the temptations lie. Like, what do you think about the drugs? What do you think about the drugs in our school? Do you think that a lot of the money that people get from student loan goes on that?
I don't think, I don't know, because I'm not using drugs. I mean, I don't take that. But at the same time, it's not only art school. I talk with people who study finance at the same university, and they take drugs also.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going out all the time, they're getting drunk, they're taking drugs. And it's not only a problem with the art school. It's in general problem with young generation, I think so.
Why do you think so?
I mean, it's so easy to get drugs. It's so easy, in a way, to kill your brain cells, or to damage your body. I'm not against drugs. I think, it's okay if your decision is, to take drugs. It's your decision. No one else's.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think you should talk, with a person who actually takes drugs quite often.
Well, I think
but I mean,
I will be asking these questions to everybody, like the one about drugs, because a lot of this magazine's got to do with is influenced and inspired by the intake of drugs, because this country has no idea, like the older generation have no idea to what extent our generation are using drugs and how we use the drugs. And people need to be made aware of it, because people don't understand how to deal with it. I've been in situations with friends who have been taking exceedingly large amounts of drugs, and I am not going to mention any names, obviously, but Their parents are desperately sad. They're desperately sad because they don't understand. They are panicking.
Yeah, it is sad.
You know?
But at the same time, look into the past. Look in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, in the 90s. You know, everyone used to take drugs. I mean, so many musicians, so many artists used to take LSD. I mean, look into Nick Cave or David Bowie. They used to live in Berlin and take drugs all the time, you know, even like heroin. I mean, it's all the time, you know, person's decision to do that or not to do that. And I tried, like, I think MDMA this year, and I didn't like that. And I tried coke. It was fun. It was really good. But I'm just still afraid. I don't know what kind of, like, how it's going to affect my body. I don't know what is going to happen.
Does that scare you?
In a way, that's why I'm scared, and that's why I'm not taking that, you know?